Hello. Okay, so today we are going to be going through 3 easy tips to follow when selling your home. And this process is really about simple steps that lead you to your final goal. So we're going to be going through similar steps like this all the rest of the week. So when selling your home, here are the top 3 steps that you really should take. And the first one normally is partner with a realtor and a mortgage lender. And I can tell you, if you've seen any of my other videos, I talk about this all the time. It's really important to protect yourself and make a commitment with a realtor and sign an agency agreement right away, because if you don't have any agency agreements in place, what can happen is you're out and you're talking with other agents on realtor.com or Zillow or any other agent that maybe you come across at an open house. And sometimes we can divulge information that we do not think at the time is really important or will hurt us, but it could. So what could happen basically is you could go to an open house, talk with a realtor, maybe share a little bit too much about your personal situation, and then you eventually sign agency with a realtor and they're representing you, and then this other agent you met previously has a house listed that you're in love with. You go to write an offer, but this can hurt your buying power because that other agent has no fiduciary responsibility to you at all, because you didn't have an agency agreement. You were just talking openly and freely with them. So make sure you're thinking about some of these things and you're getting yourself protected and prepared from the start. I know when you're thinking about selling or even buying a home, it can be a process that you've been contemplating for 3 to 6 months. So make sure you have a plan in place. And this one is really important. And you really want to, interview a couple of realtors, interview a couple of lenders so that you're choosing the best agent and the best mortgage lender for your situation and your long-term goals. And you'll want to do that fairly quickly so that you know where you stand and you have that added protection. Now, number 2 is going to be the most work, okay? It's going to be the one that really you're going to have to put in that personal time and effort for, and that is start decluttering your home. And I always recommend starting in the lowest level and working your way up and outside, because that seems to be the easiest way. Because what happens when we have, a basement or a multi-level home or things like that, we kind of store some of those items that we haven't opened in 6 years down in the basement, and everything starts to look really cluttered. So I always recommend you start in the lowest level, working your way up and going to the outside and getting that all crisp and clean as well. Now, some of the things I highly recommend are, obviously removing family pictures, because you want buyers, when they're coming into your home, to feel comfortable. You want them picturing themselves, their family, or their friends in that space. And this is how you need to put your best foot forward. You want to remove any extra clutter, extra decor off the walls. If you need to freshen up that paint, this would be a great time to do that. Paint is really the cheapest upgrade that you can do throughout the entire process that makes a huge impact. On average, I just read some statistics the other day that stated that homes that had fresh paint sell on average for $10,000 more than the asking price, in lieu of other properties that did not have fresh paint and did not, have that extra flair that buyers are looking for right now during this crazy time. So make sure you're decluttering. And one rule of thumb that I usually tell my sellers to go by is, if you haven't used an item in 6 months, do you really need that item? Is it something you can donate or sell or get rid of altogether? You need to really make that decision. I recommend only keeping the things out that you really need for the next 3 to 6 months, that you would use on a daily basis, like basic dishes, etc., clothing. Other items, I feel very confident that it's best to pack up as much as you possibly can and have it stored neatly, either in the basement storage area or in the garage, somewhere where buyers can still walk freely throughout the property and have a great experience looking at your beautiful home. But it's important, if you pack those things up earlier and you take these progressive steps, what happens is once you find your next home and you're going through the motions of that process as well, you are going to have less to do, and it's going to be a more carefree experience because you've put the work in early, and that reward is going to be so much greater. So I highly recommend doing the decluttering early. Make sure your exterior looks great. If you've got holes in the windows, get those repaired. If you've got chip paint on the siding, get that taken care of. You really want to put your best foot forward. I always say it's like going on a first date. When buyers come in, it's like they are seeing your house for the first time and you want to give the best impression you possibly can. The third one is setting your budget, okay? Setting your budget and listing your top 5s that you want in your next home. So we do these things in a process to where you're actually preparing for both transactions, okay? You're preparing for your home sale as well as your home purchase during this time. So by getting the decluttering done, you can focus then on the next part of that aspect for you, which will be locking in the top 5 things that you need in your next home. Make sure to include location in there. Location is very important. And then I also recommend that you have a couple of items on that top 5 list that you could have some flexibility with. You know, like if you absolutely had to have a fenced backyard, would you be open to the possibility of buying a home without a fenced backyard and putting that in after purchase? Things like that you could maybe have a little bit of flexibility with will go a long way. And a bonus topic that we are going to talk about today is the fact that over the last year and a half, everyone has been hearing constantly about the housing shortage. Now, it's no lie. Our housing numbers are down. Our inventory, I should say, is down as opposed to other years. However, sellers that sell are still finding a home. And if you take these steps seriously and you work through these easy steps and motions as a whole process, your outcome is going to be so much better. One thing that I haven't heard a lot of people talking about, and this has actually been a true story for this last 18 months, 19 months, I want to say, is the fact that when you're listing your home, you know, you do have that power to set your closing date, right? And one thing that we have been doing, and I know I have had sellers do, and I'm confident other realtors have as well, is maybe setting that closing date out a little bit longer than our normal 30-day window and having it be 60 days or 65 days, whatever you can possibly stretch it out to be. And buyers have been overwhelmingly accepting of that because they really want to get into a home and they really want to, you know, set roots in our beautiful city. So I think it's very important to just keep your mind open, have a lot of patience, and know that if you're scared to sell because inventory is lower and you're worried you're not going to find your next home, one thing you could keep in mind is you do have that power to set the standards of your home sale contract. And you can obviously extend that time period to longer than what our norm is. And that will give you that added, you know, peace of mind when you're out there searching and you have extra time to really narrow down a house so that you're not feeling rushed and pressured and like getting into this whirlwind of how that's going. So there is, you know, options for you out there that will make the experience so much better. Just simple steps. And this is where partnering with your realtor and your lender right from the start will really ease your mind. If you're sitting in the shadows and you're seeing all these posts about the craziness and homes are flying off the shelves, obviously that's going to be intimidating, but I assure you, almost every single seller that sells and wants to buy is still finding a home that they love. And we can put certain things into place to protect you during this time, as well as make this process simple, understandable, and just a little bit more carefree and stress-free, I like to say. So if you have any questions about the home selling process, don't be afraid to reach out. You can drop your comments below or you can reach out to me directly. I am always here to help. Have a phenomenal day.